Okay, so today we are doing Surah Al-Zalzalah, number 99. As usual, we'll read the Arabic, the translation, and some of the explanation. Shazia, let's start with you.
Yeah, okay, sir. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Iza zulzilatil ardu zilzala. When the earth will be shaken with a mighty shaking. Zalzala means to shake violently over and over again. Thus, Zulzilatil Ardu means that the earth will be shaken violently by convulsion after convulsion, and since shaking of the earth has been mentioned, it automatically gives the meaning that the entire earth will be shaken and not a limited territory of it. Then, in order to express the great intensity of the earthquake, the word zilzala has been added, which literally means it's being shaken. It means it will be so shaken as a huge sphere like it ought to be shaken or shaken to its utmost intensity. Some commentators have taken it to imply the first earthquake with which the first stage of resurrection will begin, i.e., when all living beings will perish and the present order of the world will be upset. But according to a large section of them, it implies the earthquake with which the second stage of resurrection will begin, i.e., when all the former and the later generations of mankind will rise back to life. This second commentary seems to be more correct, for the whole subsequent theme supports it.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Shazia. Shazia, one quick question. What is this word here? I'm going to box it. Give you another chance.
Uh, Letter,
You said later, but it's latter.
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay. No, because I know you have made this mistake before, so I just wanted to point out. Okay, a few words here, Jessica, for you.
Sure. Violently.
Mhm.
Violently. So it's like aggressively, intensely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intensely. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Convulsion. Convulsion. So I guess a convulsion is something that shakes, uncontrollably. It's a convulsion.
So I think recently we had, for example, earthquakes in Turkey.
Yeah.
There was earthquake once, then again. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the first earthquake was like 7.8 on Richter scale, and the second one was
Wow.
6.5, which is massive. So it's like one after another. So this is when I was reading this, when as Shazia was reading this, I was thinking about the earthquake in Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
It's like thousands of people died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
sad.
it was so sad, but also so relevant, right? It makes you think about how temporary and for in terms of the power of God and how these things can shake.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So the next word
Gives. So I guess
is
that's something just with S got left out.
yep.
Ought to be shaken. I guess another jumbled together thing.
Yep.
Ought to be shaken.
Ought to be shaken. So ought to, for example, is a modal verb that we have studied. Ought to and after to, you always have the first form. So sometimes when you use third form, you use the first form be and then use the third form. So you have first form of be followed by the third form of shake. Okay. Next.
So that's IE, which actually comes from Latin. I looked up the Latin because I didn't know it off the top of my head. And it's id est, which is, or that is.
So the translation is that is, right?
Yeah, and basically the way that English speakers use it is to be like, in other words, or to explain, you know, it's just a kind of further explanation of what they're talking about. And then that word, I'll finish that. Yeah, in other words.
Okay.
And then after that, the latter word is ladder. And that means subsequential, or if you have a group of people, the ones that showed up last, the latter people. If you have two things and you're talking about them, I'm talking about my my water and then my coffee. The coffee is the latter drink because it's the last, you know, it's the last one I mentioned.
So I had water and coffee this morning.
Yeah.
The latter drink was terrible.
I'm sorry about that.
It was from the hotel when we were leaving. So.
Oh, okay. Hotel coffees. Yeah, what can you do? Oh, and then the word after that is commentary. Commentary. So it's when somebody gives their own opinion about something. A lot of the scholars have commentaries on these surahs. That's their opinion. That's their observations, their comments. Yeah.
Set of comments. Do you think we need to reread this, or should we move to the next one?
I think she did pretty well.
Okay. All right. Next. Musamma.
Yes, sir. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا, and the earth will throw up all her burdens. This same has been expressed in Surah Al-Inshiqaq, Ayat 4, thus, and throws out whatever is within it, and becomes empty. It has several meanings. It will cast out bodies of the dead in whatever form and state and wherever they may be lying in the earth. And the following sentence indicates that at that time all the scattered parts of the bodies will reassemble and be resurrected once again in the same form and shape as they had been in their first life. For if it were not so, how will they say, "What has happened to the earth?" It will not only cast out the dead bodies of men, but also all traces and evidences of the words, deeds and activities of their former life lying buried in it. The following sentence points out that the earth will narrate all that had happened on its back.
Okay. Thank you. Few words.
Okay. So the first one is cast out. So I guess it's kind of like throw out, cast out. Same as I guess Adam and Eve were cast out from paradise, throw out. Shaitan, he was cast out and thrown into hell. So throw out.
One second. Adam. I think in Arabic or Islam we call Adam, and
Adam.
then Eve. What's the word for Eve? Anybody? Anybody? What's the word for Eve?
Sahaba.
Yeah, Haba. Okay. So Adam and Eve, that's the origin story in Islam, right? That's how we came. That's how the humanity began. Okay. So Adam and Eve were cast out, for example. Next one.
Okay. And state.
Mhm.
And state. So it says whatever form and state. So state, I guess, is like their condition. Are they new? Are they old? Are they decomposing? What is their state? What is their condition?
So no, we also use the word state in the USA to mean provinces, right?
Oh yeah, it has multiple meanings. Yeah, it can be a territory. Yeah.
So okay. The next one just got jumbled.
So the jumbled on is at that.
Mhm.
And then the next word is scattered. Scattered. So little pieces of something all over the place. They're scattered. Like if you take, I don't know, a
Spread.
paper.
Spread.
Oh yeah, spread, scatter, spread. Yeah. It takes a paper and rip it up and then scatter the pieces everywhere, or right, scattered.
Matter of fact, I have this paper that I need to shred.
Yeah.
If I break it into small pieces and I just throw them away,
Yeah.
then I've scattered those pieces.
Well, I feel like scatter is more like just kind of like going all over the place in different,
Yeah. So now we can introduce the element of wind here. If I just throw these into the wind and they just go all over the place.
Yeah, scattering in the wind. Yeah. There's reassemble. So I think that's almost kind of like the opposite of scatter, in the sense that you're taking a bunch of things and you're putting them together. Reassemble, like and I guess it's something that was together but then it broke apart and then you're putting it back together because it says reassemble.
So whenever you have the word, not whenever, a lot of times, whenever you have the word it means repeat.
Right. Like like return is to come back, to somewhere you were before.
Yeah, and I think 1 second. And then there is a word here. I think what he got confused at was with the word resemble.
Yeah, it's close. It looks like it, but yeah, it's reassemble. Yeah.
Okay. The next one.
Resurrected. So that means when something's dead and then you bring it back to life. Resurrected. Like a zombie. A zombie is a dead person who came back to life, so they were resurrected. But fortunately, when we all die and come back to life in the day of judgment, we will not be zombies. We'll just be as we were in our normal condition. Buried.
I usually just avoid the zombie movies. I cannot sleep, but
when there's zombie movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're scary. Yeah.
All right. So the next one is
buried. Buried. So that's something in the ground. It's buried.
Yeah, I always struggle with this word until I realize that I always eat strawberries. Right?
Oh.
So it's just like a berry. It's buried.
Yeah, buried. Yeah.
Rather, I would always say buried.
Oh.
But it would be buried.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. Want to read? Let's read this one.
Sure. And the earth will throw up all her burdens. The same has been expressed in Surah Al-Inshiqaq, Ayat 4. Thus, and throws out whatever is within it and becomes empty. has several meanings. It will cast out bodies of the dead in whatever form and state and wherever they may be lying in the earth. And the following sentence indicates that at that time, all the scattered parts of the bodies will reassemble and be resurrected once again in the same form and shape as they had been in their first life. For if it were not so, how will they say, what has happened to the earth? It will not only cast out the dead bodies of men, but also all traces and evidences of the words, deeds, and activities of their former life lying buried in it. The following sentence points out that the earth will narrate all that had happened on its back.
Okay, very good. Next, Abrar.
Yes, sir. A third meaning has also been given.
Abrar, you have a lot of echo.
Sorry, sir. Let me fix it. Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that okay now?
Yeah.
A third meaning has also been given by some commentators, saying that it will cast out the treasures of gold, silver, jewels, and every kind of wealth lying hidden in the earth's belly, and man will see it and realize how he thirsted for these things in the world, how he committed murders, thefts, robberies, and piracies in the land and sea, usurped the rights of others, waged wars, and devastated vast populations. On that on that day, all that will lie heaped up before him, yet of no avail, but will rather become a means of punishment for him.
Okay, very good. So a few words here.
Okay. The first one is treasures. So this is like a prize, like wealth, like a bunch of gold in a chest, treasures.
One second. You said gold, like bunch of gold in a chest.
Yeah.
So we have like treasures of gold. So
Yeah.
something valuable.
Yeah, something valuable.
1 second, but I want to just add that word in our vocabulary. In a chest. What is a chest?
I guess sometimes when I see the word treasure, I think of like pirates in the old times, and they have like a treasure chest, and they take all their gold and they put it in like the chest, and then they go like bury it under an X.
Yeah, so chest has double meaning, right? One chest is just a part of our body. And that is that. And the chest is also what would I call it? Like drawers or Shazia, go ahead. What did you want to say?
Box, chest means.
Yeah, a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I couldn't think of that word. So a box where you put your valuable items like jewelry or in Jessica's case, hard gold.
Yeah, my gold. Right.
Yeah. Now we know
Non-existent.
Jessica where she puts her gold in a chest and puts it under an X.
Yeah, somewhere in Woodbridge. To find it.
Now I just have to ask Charlie, is there an X in your apartment somewhere?
He'll never tell.
All right, next.
So jewels. So these are like, special, expensive, valuable, rare, like rocks and diamonds and rubies and emeralds and things like that. Jewels, something you could get at a jewelry store.
Okay. And then there was a word, he thirsted. I have never heard the word thirsted.
Thirsted?
Yeah, have you? I heard the word thirsty. but I'm not.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I guess when someone's thirsted in the past, they really wanted something. Maybe they really wanted a drink of water, because thirst usually refers to someone being dehydrated and wanting water or liquids, but sometimes it can also just be used as it is here metaphorically for somebody who really wanted something, like they really wanted treasure. They thirsted.
Oh, very good. You use another word that we would like to know. Dehydrate.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I'm stopping you, because that's the whole purpose of this conversation.
Oh no,
What are
absolutely.
the everyday words people use, so we can learn from those and add those to our vocabulary.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
dehydrate, what does that mean?
Well, I guess it basically means thirsty, but I mean, I guess it means like you haven't had water for a while, so you're dehydrated.
Mhm.
Like
So,
I guess during Ramadan, if you don't drink enough water, during suhoor or for dinner, like you can get dehydrated.
so I'm going to use the thing that we just learned, to be hydrated. Dehydrated means to be thirsty.
Yeah.
Okay, next word.
So usurped. To usurp is to basically steal, to aggressively take something from somebody, to usurp their rights, to usurp their land, to
To
usurp
take
their
over.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, to take over. Waged wars. So I guess they started some wars.
Okay. So to wage a war is to start a war,
Yeah.
but we also have another meaning for wage. To wage equals to start. We also say wages.
Oh yeah, I guess it depends on the difference between its verb form and its noun form.
So what would the wages be? Salary, payment?
Yeah, I guess, and the noun, the wages is a salary, a payment.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Next word.
So the next one is I guess the way Americans say it is devastated. I know that doesn't look like how it's spelled, because the way it's spelled, it looks like you should be saying devastated, right?
Mhm.
But the way, at least I know how to say it and other Americans say it, is we say devastated, which doesn't make any sense, but I guess it's another one of those things where you just have to memorize the pronunciation.
Yep. Devastate.
Devastated. Yeah.
Or
Which
I used to say devastated.
ah,
Because I knew the word stated, and now it was just deva in front of it. And
oh, okay.
a few years later, somebody corrected it, like, no, this is devas and then tated.
Hmm.
So devastated. Okay.
Yeah. So it means to ruin, to lay to waste.
Okay. Short paragraph. Reread or move on to the next one.
I guess I can read it.
Okay.
Okay. A third meaning has also been given by some commentators, saying that it will cast out the treasures of gold, silver, jewels, and every kind of wealth lying hidden in the earth's belly. And man will see it and realize how he thirsted for these things in the world, how he committed murders, thefts, robberies, and piracies in the land and sea, usurped the rights of others, waged wars, and devastated vast populations. On that day, all that will lie heaped up before him, yet of no avail, and will be rather, or I'm sorry, but rather, no, I'm sorry, but will rather become a means of punishment for him. Sorry, I got tongue-tied there.
You get one squiggly, two squigglies, three
Yeah,
squigglies.
I got all the squigglies. My bad. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you.
Oh, I also wanted to clarify the word dehydrated. It actually means to be like extremely, extremely thirsty, like to the point where you might have to go to like the hospital. So I think in day-to-day speech, I wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm dehydrated." I would just say I'm thirsty. Dehydrated, I think it means more like it's almost like a medical situation. So I think thirsty is better just for common use.
So to be very, very thirsty.
Yeah, yeah.
So my wife will occasionally, my wife will use this word. She has her undergrad in literature, so she tends to use these top shelf words a lot.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When she's very thirsty, she will say, "I'm dehydrated."
Oh, okay. So a little
Or
bit
at times she will say, "I am starved."
Mm.
To me, I came from a country with issues of malnutrition or undernutrition. So I'm like, obviously, I'm like, no, no, no. Let's be careful.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit of a exaggeration.
Okay. Yeah. So next, let's go over to Khadija.
Yes, sir. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا. And man will cry out, what is the matter with her? Man here may as well imply every man, for after resurrection and coming to senses, the first impression of every man will be as to what was happening around him. Afterwards, he will realize that it was the resurrection day. Man may also imply the man who denies the hereafter, for what he regarded as impossible would be happening in front of him and causing him confusion and bewilderment. As for the believers, they will not be bewildered and confused, for everything would be taking place according to their belief and conviction.
Okay. Very good. Just a quick comment, Khadija. On a period, pause. Okay.
Yes,
You take a quick breath and you're like, I gotta go to the next sentence. So you gotta pause.
yes, sir.
I think you got everything correct, right, Jessica?
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Okay. So we'll just move on to the next person, Munazza.
Yes, sir. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. To an extent, this second meaning is supported by verse 52 of Surah Yasin, in which it has been said that the deniers of the hereafter at the time will exclaim, who has roused us from our sleeping place? And the reply given would be, this is the same which He, merciful God, has promised, and the messenger sent by God had spoken the truth. This verse does not expressly say that this answer to the disbelievers would actually be given by the believers, for there is no indication of it in the verse. The probability, however, is that the believers will give them this answer.
Okay. Continue until the next stopping point.
يومئذ تحدث أخبارها. On that day it will relate all her news. According to Abu Huraira, the Prophet, peace be upon him, recited this verse and asked, do you know what else it will relate? The people said, Allah and His Messenger have the best knowledge.
Okay. So a few words here.
Okay. So the first one is deniers. Deniers. So people who deny, who don't believe They they just don't believe, they deny.
Believers.
So then you have to, the next one is exclaim. So that could be like to say or to shout. To say. The next one is roused. It's roused. So they have awoken.
Yep.
The next one just kind of got jumbled. It's the merciful God.
Yep.
Then
I think she just said this merciful God, I think. But okay.
Then there's truth. So truth is opposite of lies, opposite of deceit. It's true. It's honest. The next one got jumbled. It's it in the verse. The next one is probability. Probability. So chance. Yes, exactly. Chance. So, and then the next one is not a word that I hear people say a lot, so I might not even pronounce it correctly. So annals. Annals. I think it's just like a collection of books or something. I'll have to look it up. Let's see what it is. Oh, a record of events. A record of events. That's what it is.
It's like the only time I have read that is usually annals of history.
Oh, okay.
So records. Okay. So let's reread this.
All right. So to an extent, this second meaning is supported by verse 52 of Surah Yasin, in which it has been said that the deniers of the hereafter at that time will exclaim, "Ah, who has roused us from our sleeping place?" And the reply given will be, "This is the same which the merciful God had promised, and the messenger sent by God had spoken the truth." This verse does not expressly say that this answer to the disbelievers would actually be given by the believers, for there is no indication of it in the verse. The probability, however, is that the believers will give them this answer. On that day, it will relate all her news. According to Abu Huraira, the Prophet, peace be upon him, recited this verse and asked, "Do you know what annals it will relate?" The people said, "Allah and his messenger have the best knowledge."
Very good. Thank you. Sorry, I usually stop before the next verse, but Munazza has such great Arabic that I wanted her to read it.
Yeah.
And whenever you are ready to take the lessons, Jessica, Munazza is the one who will.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Give me just 1 second. Let me see how much we got left. Munazza, can you help us read the next two ayah and the translation? Munazza. Munazza, you might be on mute. All right, let's
सर वो
move to
नमाज के लिए चले वो भी नमाज का टाइम है.
Oh, okay. So maybe she meant for the prayer. So next we got Shazia, and then we'll do Shazia, and then we'll do Sumer.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ. So whoever does an atom's weight of good shall see it. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرٍّ يَرَهُ. And whoever does an atom's weight of evil shall see it.
Okay. You can read it too.
Okay, sir. A simple and straightforward meaning of this statement, and it is right and correct. is that not an atom's weight of good or evil done by a person will have been left unrecorded in his conduct book, and he will see it in any case. But if seeing is taken to imply seeing its reward and punishment, it will be wrong to take it in the meaning that in the hereafter every person will be rewarded for his most minor offense, and no one will be left unrewarded for a good and unpunished for an evil done by him.
Okay, very good. Okay, so Jessica, what are the words here?
Okay, so conduct. So conduct, it's one's behavior. Um, the next one is reward. I guess Shazia was very close though, because I think she said reward,
Yeah.
and I guess the way I pronounce it is reward. So I feel like they're very close. I can only, it's almost hard to hear the difference, really.
Yeah, well, I think the difference is V, because in V, your teeth touch your
Oh, she
lower
was
lip.
saying V. Oh, right.
Reward,
Reward.
or reward.
Not reward, but it's reward.
Yeah, you pout your lips when you say W.
Yeah. Wow.
Like you do a whistle or a city.
Like a city. Yeah, a whistle, like a whistle.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And
Actually,
then,
the word for whistle is city. So I was actually, I dropped the Urdu word while I was talking and confused you. Sorry.
oh, okay.
So, because I have not used the word whistle before. So anyways, okay. So very good. So reward, and then we have the past form of it.
So which is rewarded. So which is to, it's the opposite of punishment. It's to, oh, someone wants to join the call. It's to give someone a prize for good behavior, for good conduct.
Okay. And then I underline the last version of the same
And
word.
then rewarded.
Unrewarded.
Oh, I'm sorry, unrewarded. I didn't, yeah, there it is over there. Okay, unrewarded, yeah. So that's, and that's the opposite of rewarded. To be unrewarded is to get nothing, or it's to not be to not get your prize for your good behavior.
Okay. Next, summer.
Yes, sir. For in the first place, it would mean that each evil act will be punished and each good act rewarded separately. Secondly, it also means that no believers, however righteous and virtuous, will remain safe from being punished for a most ordinary error. And no disbeliever, however wicked and iniquitous, will be left unrewarded for most ordinary good act. Both these meanings are opposed not only to explanations given in the Quran and the Hadith, but also to reason. From the point of view of reason, it is not understandable that a master would refuse to pardon a most loyal and dutiful servant for a minor error, and along with rewarding for each act of service and obedience, would also punish him for each and every error.
Okay. Words.
Okay. So the first one is righteous, and I understand that's a difficult one because the way that I guess a lot of American English speakers pronounce it doesn't look like the way it's spelled. But it's righteous, almost as if the T is like a CH, righteous.
So the sound of, from Urdu alphabets, it will be the sound of J or CH, as Jessica said in English. Okay.
Yeah. So the next one is punished. So that's the opposite of rewarded. Punished is to hold someone accountable for their bad behavior. And then The next one is that one. I'm actually not entirely sure. Iniquitous. That's not a very common word. I have to look it up in the dictionary.
I want to grab my dictionary too.
Oh, so it's characterized by injustice or wickedness. Iniquitous. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's to be wicked.
Yeah, I was looking at the mini dictionary that I have bought the students.
Oh.
And it's not in there. It's just that the dictionary is very tiny, so my daughter grabs it all the time and she studies it.
Oh, okay. Well, I
Yeah.
found it on dictionary.com.
Mm-hmm. So it means what?
So it's characterized by injustice or wickedness, wicked and sinful.
So injustice.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. And then moving on. So the explanations, that was just kind of jumbled, the explanations. The next one is pardon. Pardon. So that's to forgive. Like if the president gives someone who's in jail, if he gives them a pardon, that means that they're forgiven and they get to get out of jail and they don't have to be there anymore. And yeah.
That was it. Reread or moving on?
What do you think, since we're only 12 minutes away from the hour?
Well, yeah, let's give next person a chance.
Okay.
Okay. Wakas and then Sania.
And likewise, this also is not understandable from the viewpoint of reason that a person brought up and favored by you should prove disloyal and treacherous and ungrateful in spite of your favors, and you ever looking this collective attitude should punish him for each act of trickery separately and reward him for each, even if most insignificant act of service separately. As for the Quran and the Hadith, they have laid down a detailed law of rewards and punishments for the different categories of the people, be they believers, hypocrites, disbelievers, righteous believers, erring believers, wicked and sinful believers, common disbelievers, or wicked and mischievous disbelievers, and these rewards and punishments pervade the entire life of man from here to the hereafter.
So let's do the words and then reread this.
Okay. So the first one is disloyal. It's the opposite of loyal. It means not loyal, or it means someone who betrays people. Disloyal. The next word means pretty much the same thing. Treacherous. Treacherous. So it's someone who's disloyal. The next one is overlooking. Overlooking. So you're not paying attention to something. You're not looking at it. You're neglecting. The next word is treachery. Treachery. So it's similar to treacherous. Treacherous is like a description, like an adjective. It's a treacherous person, whereas treachery is a noun. It's an act of treachery. It's a bad thing someone did.
I think in Urdu the word is dagabazi. Okay, and the person who does something like that would be called dagabaz. Okay.
Or a traitor.
Yeah.
A traitor. Separately, so apart. Let's see what's next. Hypocrites. Hypocrites, they're people who say they're going to do one thing and then they do a completely different thing. So they're not honest. Hypocrites.
One quick question.
Yeah.
How would you say this?
Hypocrisy.
Okay. So hypocrisy, hypocrites.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, next one.
Erring believers. Erring. So to err is to make an error. Err is to make a mistake. And then after that, it's mischievous disbelievers. So mischievous is to cause mischief, is to cause chaos, to cause trouble.
Okay, very good. So let's reread this.
Okay. Likewise, this also is not understandable from the viewpoint of reason that a person brought up and favored by you should prove disloyal and treacherous and ungrateful in spite of your favors, and you, overlooking his collective attitude, should punish him for each act of treachery separately and reward him for each, even if most insignificant, act of service separately. As for the Quran and the Hadith, they have laid down a detailed law of rewards and punishments for the different categories of the people, be they believers, hypocrites, disbelievers, righteous believers, erring believers, wicked and sinful believers, common disbelievers, or wicked and mischievous disbelievers. And these rewards and punishments pervade the entire life of man from here to the hereafter.
Very good. Next, Sun. Just skip the crossed out parts. So go ahead, Sunny.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this connection, the Quran has stated in principle certain things explicitly. First, that the deeds of the disbelievers, idolaters, and hypocrites, i.e., the deeds regarded as virtuous, have been rendered vain. They will receive no reward for them in the hereafter. If at all they deserve a reward for them, they will receive it here in the world. Second, that evil will be punished to the extent that evil has been committed, but the good deeds will be rewarded much more generously than what will than what they will actually deserve. At some places, it has been ex- explicitly stated that a good act will have a tenfold reward for it, and at others that Allah will increase the reward of the good act as much as He will please. Third, that if the disbelievers abstained from major sins, their ordinary offenses will be forgiven. Fourth, that the righteous believer shall have an easy reckoning. His evils will be overlooked and he will be rewarded according to his best deeds.
Okay, very good. So just 2 words here.
Okay. So the first one I see is believers. So I guess that just got jumbled. Believers. And then the second one is reckoning. So I guess reckoning is like someone's judgment. someone's account. I had to look up just to see other meanings of it. I guess the reckoning on the Day of Judgment is your reward or punishment.
Yeah, and so I think in Urdu we use the word hasab. When you have to give an account of something.
Yeah.
You see, account.
So it's how your account will look on the Day of Judgment. Hopefully, you want it to be positive and not negative.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
And then
yes.
in the file I shared with you guys, there's again introduction at the end of this file. So just if you have time, try to read the name, the period of the revelation, and then theme and subject matter. The theme and subject matter this part is really helpful. That hey, there's life after death, and there will be accounting for it. My side comment here, Jessica, I always wonder why, given there's so much emphasis on your good deeds, bad deeds, and record keeping, I'm always curious why Muslims did not invent accounting.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
Are you sure they haven't?
Yeah, well, part of the reasoning why this people say is that the algebra was created was to deal with the laws of inheritance. Again, I don't know if it's right or wrong, or maybe it's just an urban legend. But I was thinking that there's so much emphasis on accounting, and there are multipliers.
Yeah, that's true.
So there could be some sort of hey, assets equals liabilities plus equity.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's accounting in a nutshell.
Oh, okay.
Whatever you either owe somebody or you have cash, that's equal to your assets.
I see.
So, anyways, I don't want to indulge into accounting here as much as I would like to. But anyways, thank you so much for your time, Jessica. We'll stop the recording here as well, and we will see you next Friday, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah. See you next Friday. Have a good one.
Thank you. Juma Mubarak.
Juma Mubarak. Bye.
Allah peace, man.